Am I the asshole for destroying his painting of me after he gave it to me? I sat for a portrait painting many years ago by a local artist who asked me to. I was happy to at the time. My feelings about this change. It was an extremely well done painting and looked almost exactly like me. He has painted several other women in similar fashion. He paints lots of things and various series of things. I'm also an artist. As I've grown older, I realized this portrait was part of a collection, by this man, of beautiful women, that he would show off. For 25 years he kept offering to ship the painting to me, but never did. I honestly didn't care if he kept it or not, and oddly that allowed me to see how over the years he was trying to hold this painting over my head as an object to keep me engaged with him. But it didn't really work, because I didn't want the painting that much. I think he thought I would be extremely excited to have it. Every time I would see him, he would bring it up and very seriously tell me he was ready to ship it. And I would be like, sure, of course I would like to have it if you want to give it to me. And he would communicate with me about that up until that point and then stop completely replying. It began to feel like a game and I wasn't enjoying it. Finally, many years later when I was around, he invited me over to get the painting, but oops, it still wasn't quite finished 25 years later. So I go over, brought a friend because I didn't want him to hang out with him alone. He let me see it, but I'd have to come back a couple days later to get it still. Finally, he gave me the painting and I took it back home. I was traveling. I don't live where he lives anymore. I thought about how I felt about it, how it made me feel like an object he could toy with, how he'd used this painting to abuse and manipulate me, and this painting was the only way he knew how. So I destroyed it. He found out because he wanted to display it for a show and I told him I didn't have it anymore. He was stunned. We had zero agreement about future availability of his works. I have no regrets. I'm really glad to know it doesn't exist anymore for others to look at like he's my owner, or a gatekeeper of me, or to include me in a part of a collection of women, or for him to enjoy alone. Of course, he thinks I'm an asshole, but I don't. He made me feel tied to this painting after the fact in a way that made me very uncomfortable. Knowing it's completely destroyed makes me feel at peace. What do you think? Edit. To correct one line of thinking. I did not repeatedly ask for the painting, he repeatedly offered it to me without my asking, and if I said no, he would have been insulted and we have a whole new situation. For the folks who don't understand what it's like to handle fragile male egos, especially ones who are playing games with you, saying, no, I don't want that painting you made of me, is actually harder, scarier than saying, okay, sure. And the honest truth is, I didn't want the painting in my possession, not his. I meant it whenever I said I'd like to have it. Thank you so much for your thoughtful replies. Not the asshole. He was playing a bullshit game and you ended it. Good for you. ETA after reading some of the comments. I trust OP's version of what was going on. When a man is playing a power game with a woman, she can tell. Not the asshole regardless of your motivations. He gave you the painting and you could do whatever you wanted with it. If destroying it is what you wanted to do, great. If he's upset, well, so what? He wanted to display it for a show and then it would have been, come and get it, oh never mind I can't give it to you right now, ad nauseum. You did the right thing. Not the asshole. In there was no contract, and he kept holding above you. Like even if you just gave it away he has no rights to it. It was probably very therapeutic to destroy cuz that meant you had nothing tying you to him. Not the asshole. As an artist who has spent years working with artists I know exactly what kind of dude you're talking about. I worked with an incredible artist who was so in love with his wife he painted her over and over again, she was his muse. I was gushing over his work one day and he offered to paint me. I said yes, he did so, gave me the painting with a big smile on his face, and then gave the same offer to two other dudes we worked with who were bros. They have a beautifully rendered bro portrait and I have a masterpiece and everyone's happy and no one feels used or weird. It's not hard. Not the asshole. Speaking as another female artist, once he surrendered the piece to you it is yours to do with as you wish. If he really wanted it for a show he never should have given it away. He's clearly upset because you did break the thread he was trying to use to control you. Am I the asshole for suggesting to my husband that we put his mother in a home? I, 45 female, and my husband, 56 male, are going through a rough patch. Recently, his mother's, 78 female, health issues have been getting worse and the doctor has recommended she receive full-time care. Previously, she lived alone, but nurses would come every other day to check on her. My husband thinks the best course of action in moving her into our home. My issue is that I do not want my mother-in-law living with us. She's always been very rude to me and my daughter, 11 female. She was originally against me marrying my husband because we come from two different faiths. He's Mormon, I'm raised Lutheran but personally agnostic, and because I'm not as traditional as she would like me to be. She is a very traditional woman who believes in rigid gender roles for women. She's attempted to push this belief on my daughter by making comments about what my daughter wears and does. She has made comments to my daughter like, "Wear leggings with your dress, or else you make God upset. And when God's upset, he sends people to bad places." This has made my daughter feel very ashamed and paranoid. She has also expressed disdain for when my daughter said she wanted to become a veterinarian. My mother-in-law said, "A proper lady should not work outside the home. Focus on raising a family." She also hates me because I work, and was very against this. She does not hold the same sentiment towards my son, 8 male. She shows clear favoritism towards my son while consistently criticizing everything my daughter does. While my husband typically defends me in front of his mom, he is adamant we move her into our house. His reasoning is that she is too sick to take care of herself, and his only other brother is ill-fit to take care of her. He's in rehab. I suggested, then put her in a retirement home, which made him incredibly angry. He says that at the end of the day this is his mother, and he has a duty towards her. He promised that if she moves in, he will talk to her about her attitude towards me and our daughter. However, I don't want to raise my kids anywhere near her. She has been shaming my daughter, and I barely get along with her. Last night, out of anger, my husband said, "You can move out of the house, but I'm not moving my mother into a retirement home." Am I the asshole for suggesting my mother-in-law be sent to a home? Edit. Since people are asking, we will continue to have nurses check on my mother-in-law. My husband wants her to move in and switch nurse visits from every other day to every day. Not the asshole. Tell your husband to move in with his mother and he can provide her all the care she needs. You will continue to bring up your 2 children. Don't move out. Don't let that nasty old woman move in. Last night, out of anger, my husband said, "You can move out of the house, but I'm not moving my mother into a retirement home." I mean, that should tell you everything you need to know right there. This is a 1 no, 2 yes type situation. Not the asshole. Ask him, who is going to care for your mother? Help her go to the bathroom? Give her a bath? Be around during the day in case she needs something? I work full-time, we have 2 young children who need our attention. Hate saying it out loud, but Hubs totally plans on dumping the full-time caregiver role on you. Then suggest, if you're adamant about caring for your mother, give it a trial run, you move into her house, you see if you can handle it. The 2 of you can sit down with the doctor and find out what she will need for care, the work involved. At the end of the day, you might need to call his bluff and start looking for a home, or if both of you are on the mortgage and deed, talking to a good lawyer. Not the asshole. You're not the asshole and you would end up doing everything because in her mind, and most likely his, that would be your role. He promised that if she moves in, he will talk to her about her attitude towards me and our daughter. Bullshit. He never has had that conversation before. Why should he now? Last night, out of anger, my husband said, "You can move out of the house, but I'm not moving my mother into a retirement home." Or he can just move in with his dear mother and find out what taking full-time care of her entails. In Ta, he's made it very clear he's choosing his mom over his daughter. First thing in the morning you go speak to a family lawyer, explain the situation and do what they recommend. Don't move out unless the lawyer tells you to. You need to do this now to protect you children, especially your daughter, and you need to do this before he takes on responsibility for his mom, which, depending, can change things like, who has to move, how much child support is ordered, etc. Putting someone in a home isn't always cruel, sometimes it's the best choice, especially when care is needed and family dynamics are harmful. Your daughter deserves to feel safe in her own home. Not the asshole. Am I the asshole for leaving a trip early because it got too expensive? I, female, 28, went on a bachelorette for the weekend. Prior to the trip I let the group chat know that I am on a budget and need to know the expenses in advance before I can agree. We all agreed on around $500, which I thought was doable. Before getting there we paid for the hotel and ride around since we were drinking, which was $300. We split it to where the bride wouldn't pay for these, which I was fine with. Then when I arrived, we had our dinner planned and went to a fancy restaurant. I ordered the cheapest meal and then one of the girls took the bill and paid. Then following day I asked how much the tip was to pay my portion and the girls responded to just spilt the check, and I said no, my meal was nothing compared to them. Then they expected us to pay for the bride for everything she's ordered the entire trip while she was getting the most expensive meals and drinks, flights at places. Then said, why would you come here and not pay for everything for her? I understand paying for certain things for the bride, but I wasn't expecting to pay for her entire trip. Other bachelorettes I've been on didn't do that. However, if they would have told me in advance I could have planned, everyone knew but me. I told the bride that the girls were rude and that I can't afford to stay and I'm uncomfortable. She said it was fine, she appreciated my time. Keep in mind I wasn't invited to the wedding because she couldn't afford it. Then uninvited me to the bridal shower and as a friend. I'm sorry, you weren't invited to the wedding but you were invited to the bachelorette party? Someone's an asshole here and it's not you. They weren't really your friends, you were just a convenient ATM for the bridal shower. Not the asshole. Not the asshole, you went in on good faith and were upfront about your limits. These girls are going to be paying 3x the cost in credit card interest for months while you move on to better things. Not the asshole, been there, and honestly if the flight wasn't so expensive I would left early too. I'm disabled so I can't work as much as the other girls, and I also didn't realize that even though I bought her flight and her wedding gift, the other girls were expecting me to help pay for all her meals and her portion for Ubers as well. I never want to go to another bachelorette party. Wedding culture is out of control. I feel like you shouldn't get presents or have ceremonies until you've been married 10 years. That's commitment. Not the asshole, but the main part of this story I don't understand is why you would be invited to the bachelorette party but not be invited to the wedding. Irish here and we call it a hen party, but there's no way in hell anyone invited to a hen party wouldn't be on the guest list for the wedding. The two things go hand in hand. Is this normal where you're from? Am I the asshole for saying it's inappropriate that my brother's girlfriend keeps wearing my clothes? 17F. Live at home with my mom and brother, 23M. His girlfriend, 23F, has started staying over more often, like multiple nights a week. I'm not judging that part too much, she's great, but what's really bothering me is that she keeps wearing my clothes. The first few times it was with permission and I'd agreed and lent her my stuff, but now I'll just wake up and see her walking around the kitchen wearing one of my shirts like it's normal. I never said she could freely take anything. When I brought it up to my brother he said it'd be a hassle to make her pack more stuff, that it's just a nice way to make her feel more welcomed and at home, and that it'd be even more inappropriate for her to wear his clothes around the house. Okay, how is that my problem? I'm not her closet. IDK why she doesn't just wear my mom's too. I told him it made me uncomfortable, especially because there's something intimate about her wearing my stuff and it reminds me that she's sleeping in his bed and I don't want to picture that. Honestly it just feels kinda gross. Our mom is staying out of it, she didn't disagree with me but IDK if she sees it the same way I do or just doesn't care. Edit. Yes, I have a lock on my door, but not all of my clothes are in my closet. Mine and everyone else's overflow clothes are all folded in the laundry room, which is accessible to anyone. I know I'll have to tell her directly soon and suggest what people have been commenting about leaving her own clothes here. I just hate feeling like I'm gonna be starting drama because nobody else in the house sees my issue. Another edit. I just want to mention I know I may seem passive but I let it slip by a bit longer because he's told me she has a delicate situation back at home, whatever that means. He also said it's like how sisters always borrow each other's clothes and I should try to be more understanding, and like I don't want to be an asshole because I don't have an issue with her outside of this, but she is not my sister. She is his girlfriend and IDC if it's just 2 shirts borrowed in a week I still feel like it's too much. If it were me I'd tell him that it's super fucked up that he's banging someone dressed in his sister's clothes. But I'm a petty, angry woman, so grain of salt. Not the asshole, get locks. Not the asshole. Put on your big girl panties and tell her to stop raiding your closet and return every item of clothing of yours now. It is not your responsibility to enable your brother getting his member wet. If she is going to come over, stay over so much. She should start bringing her own clothes. Like what the heck? Does she not have shame or feel weird in someone else's clothes? Not the asshole. You're going to have to bypass your brother and go straight to the girlfriend. Tell her that you don't appreciate her taking your clothes without asking. How is she even accessing your clothes? Maybe make a comment when you're all together having a meal or something. Don't you find it weird kissing your girlfriend when she's dressed like me? Would give me the ick, but you be you, and pull a face. Not the asshole. Put on your big girl panties and tell her it feels very creepy that your brother gets off on his girlfriend wearing his little sister's clothes. Edit. Spelling of bog to big. Not the asshole. Hey brother, doesn't it feel weird to be fucking a girl in your baby sister's clothes? Or is that a sick turn on?